How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, Will?
What up?
I can tell we don't have Rich here today, right?
We do not have Rich here tonight. That's why things are a little janky. Shout out Regen with the elbow cough. Yeah, it's been a little janky. That's why we're late. We were like, we need to do it earlier. 8 o'clock start instead of 9 o'clock start. Ended up starting at 8:20. There was some mishaps on the production side of things this morning.
But Rich is doing some important things right now. Shout out Rich.
Shout out Rich.
And hey,
shout out
Regen,
everybody. Here for the jank. It's gonna get more janky.
Destroy the fight. But yes, please like, subscribe, even though it's a little janky right now. Hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live. We go live when we do fight recaps. We go live. We do fight companions. We do other things as well. But this is where we talk all things mixed martial arts. And you can find us on social media.
Yeah, it's at Story the Fight on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, everywhere it's Story the Fight. If you go to storythefight.com, it'll list all of them. You can click on all of them, follow all of them. Makes it easy.
Makes it very easy. And that being said, I think we're ready to get started talking about these fights.
Speaking of making things easy.
Yeah. Oh, man. UFC 285. It was a big event last night, man. The card was absolutely stacked. But more
it
than
was
anything,
it was the most hyped I've been for a UFC event in a long time.
In a long time, man.
I had people
usually
reaching out to
you're
me
only
who
this
normally
hyped
don't.
for one.
Yeah, I mean, I had people reaching out to me that normally don't. And like, hey, what's gonna happen? Hey, what's gonna happen? Hey, what's gonna happen? And it's like, whoa, there's some buzz on this one.
But dude, I mean, there's just a polarizing figure on this card. You know, everybody was in this man's shadow.
Oh,
and like John Jones, the return of John Jones, after what was it, 3 years?
3-year layoff. Yeah, 3-year layoff. New division. He's had layoffs before. Going up in weight. A lot of questions. What's gonna happen? All that stuff.
Has he been going to strip clubs? Has he been all coked out? Is he still on roids?
Yeah.
And
It's
it might be all the above.
The reason it took so long is because he was bulking up with the use of steroids and he needed to pass drug tests before he came back. All those questions were asked. What's he gonna look like? You know.
But by the way,
there he is.
Going in, right? Because I haven't really followed John Jones very much in those 3 years, and all I hear is he's taking all this time off because he wants to bulk the right way. You know, he's working out, he's lifting heavy, he's doing all these things. So like, I'm excited to see him in the weigh-ins, and I'm like, this guy's gonna be ripped, man. He's gonna walk in looking like Francis Ngannou, and everything else looks like the same except he has a belly.
Yeah, I mean, he's bigger. He's bigger.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe his arms are a little bigger. It looks like
his arms are bigger. He was like, yeah, all the weight went to my ass. All the squats I'm doing, it's like it also went to the spare tire. But you know what? I feel him on that. You know,
definitely didn't go to his calves.
Definitely didn't go to his calves. No,
that man can work out his calves every day for hours on end, and I think they'll still stay the same.
Yeah, I mean, there's no chance. But yeah, a lot of people were kind of giving him shit for his physique and stuff. I thought he looked fine. I mean, obviously the comparison is going to be to what he looked like when he's able to cut at 205. But when you compare him to other heavyweights, he looked pretty good. You know,
yes, 100%. I mean, you put him up next to like a Tai Tuivasa,
Parker Porter, you know, like the list goes on. There's a lot of.
But I mean, look at your boy Cyril Gane, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's
ripped.
he's a genetic freak, But yeah, going into the fight itself, it's like there's so many questions, right? Um, Regen says, "I hope he keeps going next fight. He'll look like Roy Nelson."
That'd be amazing.
But yeah, so the fight itself, I was telling everybody that my two biggest questions going into it was a 3-year layoff. John's style specifically, especially later into his career, John, is being able to roll with shots. We say it a bunch of times. I said it a bunch of times on the show that he rolls with punches better than anybody I've seen in MMA. And so what's that going to be like with the layoff? After 3 years, does he still have the timing to roll with those shots? Because if the timing's off at all at heavyweight, he's going to get knocked out. You can't miss the timing on rolling with punches at heavyweight, especially against a puncher like Cyril Gane. He's going to get knocked out. So that was question number one that I had. Question number two was, will the wrestling translate to heavyweight? That's arguably the bigger question, because it's like everybody's shitting on Cyril Gane for his performance in this fight, but the reality is, style-wise, if the wrestling translates, that's all that matters. Yep. And I was watching
a matchup nightmare for Gane.
Stylistically, yeah, and if it's like question one, question two, does the wrestling translate? If it does, don't need any other questions. If it doesn't, now where's the timing? Is he going to be able to roll with these shots? Things like that. As soon as he took it down, I looked over at Kevin. I said, "That's a wrap. It's over. There's no way Cyril Gane wins this fight." And then we know what happens. Regent says, "I thought once it got to the ground, it could go that way, but I thought Gane would make it a lot harder than he did." What did you think about that? Because I see a lot of people talking about, and I'm not saying Regent's saying this, but a lot of people I see are saying they're almost less impressed with Jon Jones and they're more disappointed in Cyril Gane. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't think that way at all.
I'm really impressed by Jon Jones, man. The fact that anybody's able to take 3 years off and come back and fight at the highest level, he goes right in and fights for the heavyweight championship of the world, going up in weight class. And Will, we've talked fights for I don't know how many years already. I'm not the biggest Jon Jones fan.
Yeah.
But
you are the biggest Jon Jones apologist.
What? Dude, but I'll say he's one of the best to ever do it, man.
One of?
Yes.
I think you can cut out one of.
Oh man.
He's the best. He's the best. You can't even argue it anymore. The only thing against
that's how much I like Jon Jones. It pains me to say that.
I know. The only way you can discredit him or say that he's not the GOAT is
the roids.
Valid is the roids.
Yeah.
If you fail the drug test, you're automatically out of that conversation. That's the only valid thing at this point. Because I mean, who else? Who else has done anything like this?
Look, I was really impressed because going in, everybody was like, "Oh, Jon Jones."
I forgot I'm also doing the producing. I haven't gone through the slideshow at all.
Jon Jones, right? But for me, I still thought that this was a very dangerous matchup for Jon Jones because he's going in against Cyril Gane. He's a heavyweight, a natural heavyweight. We talked about his physique earlier. He has the strength of a heavyweight,
205.
the power of a heavyweight, but then he also has the ability to move like a middleweight. So I thought that this was going to be a very interesting matchup for Jon Jones, and it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot tougher for him than it was. Now that being said, Gane made Ngannou look like an all-American wrestler. When they wrestle, and I know Ngannou's a big dude. He has to cut down to 265, but still, I still take a look at the skill set that Jon Jones has. Yeah, and I thought, if he's able to use that skill set, it'll be a fairly easy night for Jon Jones if he's able to take Cyril Gane down, and he did.
Right, that was the biggest question. Does the wrestling translate? Because stylists and there's a lot of like revisionist history now. People being like Cyril Gane, he was overrated basically, and it's like no, it's none of that. And there's some of that in the co-main event too that we're gonna talk about. But in this fight, it's all Jon Jones. It's all Jon Jones, and everyone's like, "What? Cyril Gane's game plan was to just kick him in the dick, and then that was it. Give up the takedown." Cyril Gane didn't let Jon Jones take him down. Jon Jones took him down. You know what I mean? It's not.
Cyril Gane has 2 losses on his resume, and it's to Francis Ngannou and to Jon Jones, dude. This guy's money.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very, very
He's
good.
very good.
So we haven't even really talked about the fight. Basically, I mean, it was 2 minutes, right? The lead up was almost more interesting than the fight for me because John's walking out. When it cuts to John in the tunnel and he's walking out, and he's like, oh man, it's like trying to hype himself up. And I was like, dude, he looks nervous. It's the most nervous I've ever seen him. He's like trying to hype himself up. Once he starts getting into the crowd, he's like smiling and he's dancing and stuff on the walkout. I was like, okay, he's feeling it now. He's feeling it. And then they get to
And
the
then he
corner,
stops.
the pre-stuff. Yeah, they go to the pre-stuff, the check-in and everything. And he like hugs everybody and stuff. And then he's like, all right, getting in there. He starts crawling up the steps and like, whoa. Do you have a cup on? Do you want Vaseline on your face? So they pull him back.
Yeah.
He's like, oh. And I was like, oh man, he's nervous, man. and then they do the Vaseline, they do the cup check, all that stuff. And then he starts going in. They're like, wait, not yet. And he's like, huh? And they're like, your foot, like we got to cut the tape. They're like cutting. There's something about the tape on his foot. And I'm like, man, this guy's it's just worst case scenario left and right as you're trying to get. He's like, he just wants to get in there. And and they're like all these different distractions. Hey, shift your focus to your foot now. You're not focused on the fight. You're focused on your foot and the tape. What's the tape about? Is your toe broke? All this stuff. And they're like,
By the way, might have the nastiest feet in all of UFC.
yeah, maybe.
It's up there.
It's up there. But yeah, and I was going into that. I was like, man, that's got to be this dude's trying to focus, and they're just not letting him do it. And then he gets in there, and me and Kevin were like, man, is he gonna crouch to start the fight? What are his knees like with all this weight, all this time off? He's older. He's fight worn a little bit. And then he goes in there and does like a one-handed like cartwheel to get into the cage, and I was like, no, I think we're probably fine. We're probably good.
Dude,
And then the fight
it
happens.
was an amazing performance just overall, dude.
Yeah, he opens up with like a nice outside leg kick. Gane returns with the inside leg kick right to the dick, and then they have to wait again. And I'm like, man, they're really not letting John get off to a smooth start. And then it was kind of just a feeling out process for like 30 seconds, and then
Yeah.
he ducked under a punch from Cyril Gane, took him down. Matt returned him, and then I think here's the thing that makes him great. Let me go back to this. So in this position where Cyril Gane's kind of on the fence and John kind of climbs up and it's not a mount, right? He's not mounted him, but he's over his knees, and that's like what's important. But there's a lot of times in fighting where guys get away with this type of stuff and wall walking, where they're like, I got to the fence, hands on the mat, I'm pushing down, I'm getting up, all this stuff, and they're vulnerable, and the other guy's like, I just need to try to hold him down, don't let him wall walk, don't let him do it. John is special. And the reason what makes John special is he'll take that. You can't give him that inch of I need a wall walk. Now my neck's exposed. Most guys let you get away with that. John's like, oh no, I'm just gonna take that. You're gonna give me your neck right now? Okay. Let me just climb up and guillotine you. Like that's what makes him special. You can't make weird transitions like that. You against someone like John Jones. He's gonna take advantage of anything you give him. People talk about his fight IQ.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. It's his fight IQ, man. You take a
Mm-hmm.
look at he's been in so many different situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Situational IQs there. This guy's 27-1. Let's be real though. He's 28 now.
He's 28-1.
Yeah, and
there's no contest in there for the steroids.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, he's never lost.
No, anything that this guy sees in the octagon, somebody's already tried to throw his way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Cyril Gane, again, he's very good. He's had 13 fights in the octagon, 13 MMA fights.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge difference.
Huge.
There's a huge difference, man. So that was a mismatch, right? Just the experience itself.
Yeah.
But man, I'm so excited now for Stipe versus John Jones.
Okay. I'm not that excited for that. It
Why?
has to happen because Stipe's 44 now? It's not like he's fighting Stipe like champ Stipe,
That's true.
It is
like
it is
his old self.
I mean, we don't know
still
what we're
good,
gonna
though.
get. The thing is though, he's still good, yeah. But he's a smaller heavyweight. He's not a big heavyweight. I think he weighed in at like 238 for his last Francis fight. I think that was what he weighed in at. But so he's not going to have the size advantage against John. He will have better defensive wrestling. That will make it very interesting. I'm sure as the fight gets closer, I'll get more and more excited. But could you imagine if John comes back and he just got the belt at heavyweight, and then he beats Stipe, and then he defends it one more time against the winner of Pavlovich versus Curtis Blades?
Oh my God!
I mean,
that fight, Pavlovich.
That's the real one.
Looks like a freaking
Blades
monster.
Too. Blades too. Blades versus John Jones is very competitive. Yeah. Very competitive because Blades is
not as excited for that one.
Blades is a legit heavyweight, and he can crack, and he's falling in love with his hands. That's a very interesting fight to me. That's the most challenging fight for John at heavyweight. I think it's Curtis Blades.
I say don't count Stipe out though.
No, I would never count him out. And like I said, as the fight gets closer, I'll probably be like, oh man, I'm excited. But how about Stipe just like no selling it too? They show him. He's like they're showing him on the broadcast, and John's like calling him out, and Stipe is just like no reaction whatsoever. And then they interview him. They pull him backstage with Megan Olivier. She's like, "What do you think about that matchup?" He's like, "They're like, Stipe, what did you think of that of John's performance?" Yeah, he's happy for him. He got the win. And they're like, "What about a matchup with you guys?" Oh yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
like, come on, Stipe.
Maybe in July. She's like, "Is that what you want?" He's like, well, "That's what they told me."
Yeah,
that's what they told me. So
that's why Dana hates him, dude. Just
it's so funny.
Like, I'm just here to fight, man. What is all this bullshit?
Yeah. And you know what? And I'm here to watch him, man. But
John Jones was
Stipe. We haven't seen Stipe in a minute. I know. But while you and I are sitting here watching MMA, this guy's out there training and saving lives as a firefighter. Yeah. This guy is a beast. I'm a big Stipe fan, man. So maybe I'm a little more hyped up than most others would be. But I don't know.
I mean, let's be real. It's a big fight. It's a huge fight. If John can then take out the greatest UFC heavyweight champ of all time, regardless if he's 45, whatever, how old he is, it's still impressive. And I see people who are like, oh, we didn't get to see these questions answered. What does John's cardio look like? Can he go 5 rounds at heavyweight? All these things. It's like, do we need those questions answered? It clearly doesn't matter. He's going to go out there and choke someone out in 2 minutes. Who cares what his cardio is like? You know, he's only going to fight at heavyweight probably a couple times. If he fights Stipe and wins, he might retire off that. He might not even have a third fight at heavyweight.
True.
True. Like, do we need those questions answered? Not really.
I'm fine. I'm okay with it. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
All right. We ready to go on to the next
20 minutes on that fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one is
we got Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko, man. Okay, so
we normally don't text during the fights.
We normally don't, but this fight was amazing. Now,
it was really good.
Going into this one too, right? I had some folks over last night, and we were talking about Shevchenko and Grasso, and I said the thing that worries me about Shevchenko is that she has all the different tools in her arsenal, right? But as of late, she's had a couple rough goes where I feel like she's in this mode. Fight. Yeah, but I feel like she's in this mode where whatever the other person's bringing, like she has to beat them at their own game. And I don't know if it's like a personal thing where she wants to prove to herself that she's the best in every type of mixed martial art or in every type of martial art. So I was a little concerned going into this that she would try to outbox Alexa Grasso. And while I don't think that she tried to outbox her the entire night, I do think that she could have done a better job of staying away from Grasso's range. I would like to see Shevchenko use her kicks a lot more, maybe a front kick to just continue maintaining the distance, maybe a couple of head kicks, which we saw a couple of them, but I think it was too often where she was just in the perfect range of Grasso's lead hook like you see right here.
Well, so Grasso in that first round, so they open up, and I was texting you, and George texted us and was like, dude, if Grasso wins, I might cry. And dude, at that moment she was walking out, fucking hype walkout. The music was great, her demeanor was great. I was like, oh my god, like if she could pull this off, like that's what immediately was going through my mind during the walkout. I was like, if she could pull it off, this is gonna be so sick. And then George texts, if she wins, I might cry. I'm like, oh my god, George is reading my mind. And then and the fight happens, And I was saying, like, you can't just go at Shevchenko. You can't just blitz her because that's what she wants. You have to like make her uncomfortable. You have to freeze her because she doesn't like to go first. Like once she goes, if you don't let her counter strike you, she like forces these clinch exchanges, and her entries aren't very good to close the gap if it's not shooting under, because even her takedowns are counters.
Yep.
She'll counter your striking to get her takedowns, but when she initiates the clinch, it's very awkward, and that's how Santos was able to capitalize on her so much, because Santos would just stop, and she's like, "I'm not going to play your game. Come to me." And then that's when Shevchenko was starting to like try to force things, and it was really working for Santos. And I was like, "That's what Grasso needs to do." And instead, Grasso was like, "I'm coming out southpaw. I'm going to toss this jab as a rangefinder, use my feet underneath it to get to you, and then just hit you with this left hand." And she cracked her at like 2 minutes into the fight. She cracked Shevchenko, and I think everything changed at that moment, because from that moment, Shevchenko was like, "Oh shit, I can normally counter that before that lands. Let's change things." And then she started getting those takedowns, and I was like, "Oh man." But then even the takedowns, she would get them, and she got the crucifix on Grasso. Grasso did a great job of putting her head on the other side of Shevchenko's head in the crucifix, so she couldn't land the elbows that she normally does. And Grasso's defensive grappling was on point. Her takedown defense, not so much, but her defensive grappling was really good, and she was able to avoid all the damage that Shevchenko was doing, and even got a stand-up in guard, which I thought was a good stand-up. The broadcast team hated it. What did you think about the stand-up?
I mean, all night I feel like there was an emphasis on separating or standing up all night, and it wasn't just this fight. Considering the fact that it was consistent throughout the night, I'm fine with it. It would have been different for me if it was just that one time where I would have been like, "Hey, yeah." But they were consistent with it the entire night. They were pushing for the action.
Yeah, but also I feel like you should get stood up. And I'm not a Shevchenko hater. I think she's incredible. I think she's arguably better than Nunes, as far as like women's GOAT, right? But you shouldn't be able to take someone down and sit in their closed guard with your head in their chest for over 2 minutes. You shouldn't be able to do that. You should at least threaten to pass. You should at least threaten with a posture up and strikes. It's stalling, and stalling it's against the rules, you know? So I think that should be enforced more, and I thought it was a good stand-up.
Yeah, man. And Shevchenko continued coming in with like this the like Muay Thai stance with like her hands up with kind of like a little high guard, and she would bounce up and down, and then she'd stop. There was these awkward exchanges or awkward moments where she would stop, and then like you said, Grasso would wait, and she'd kind of just head bob in the back, and then Valentina would take a step back and then bounce forward again and do the exact same thing. I'm like, what's going on here? It's like a little chess match right now.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
As you see the picture here, Shevchenko did a good job of timing that takedown that she did get, right, coming underneath one of Grasso's punches. Overall, for the night, I was just so impressed with Grasso and how patient and how calm she was throughout the entire night, considering that she's fighting arguably one of the best to ever do it in women's MMA.
Yeah, and to win the first round like that. To win the first round and not get overexcited and like, whoa, I just took the first round off Shevchenko. And going into that second round and getting like an adrenaline dump or something. Yeah, super calm.
She acted like she had been there before.
Yeah, and I see a lot of this. And the same thing people trying to say that Cyril Gane lost that fight, John didn't win it. A lot of people are saying, yeah, Father Time catches up to you with Shevchenko. I don't think this is that. I don't think this is that at all. People are like, yeah, her last fight wasn't dominant like the last ones. Like, I think she's getting older. You know what I mean? I don't think she's getting older. I mean, she is, right? Everybody's getting older, but
34.
She's 34. She's still in fantastic shape. Her technique still looks flawless. She's still seeing the shots. She's countering with takedowns. She's countering with her kicks, things like that. The difference is there's just more footage of her available. People are starting to figure out what makes her so good. That's what happens. People start eventually creeping closer and closer and closer and figuring you out. This is not Shevchenko slowing down. This is just Grasso with a good game plan. That's all it was. Same thing with Santos. It was just two fighters who were good, had good game plans, of fighters who they could watch unlimited tape on. who fights very similar in all of her fights, like that's what happens. There's a constant meme about Shevchenko about how many times she throws spinning kicks when she's either way out of range and it's never going to land, or when she's way too close and it's never going to land. It's Jack Slacker even talked about it. He's like, I was going to post it, but I never did. He made a montage of all of her spinning attack that miss, because she constantly does that. And
Grasso
Grasso
said
even
she was
said,
waiting for it.
Grasso, yeah, and it's one thing to wait for it, know it's a thing, recognize it, but it's another thing to be able to capitalize on it. And people are saying, "Oh, Valentina Weidman'd herself." No, this is something that she always does. It wasn't something that she threw random. Because remember, Weidman threw the spinning kick against
Against
Rockhold.
Rockhold.
Yeah, got taken down and then was never the same after that. But that's not what this was. Shevchenko's always done that. It's not like Weidman does that in every fight. Shevchenko always does that in all her fights, but people are either too far out or aren't able to capitalize it on when they crowd it, because that's what you want to do, right? You want to crowd a spinning attack, but they can't capitalize on it. Grasso could. She took her back immediately, got the choke in. This is not Shevchenko slowing down. I'm very interested in a rematch. This is Grasso just with a fantastic game plan and staying poised. And same thing with Jon Jones, seizing the opportunity that was presented to them.
And they have to give her a rematch, right? Like right away.
I'm not huge on immediate rematches for champions. I think it's kind of bullshit that you have to beat the champ twice to get the belt. But there are exceptions to that, and the exceptions are when people have a long line of title defenses, right? Anderson Silva deserved one. Mighty Mouse deserved one. Jon Jones, if he lost the belt, would deserve it. GSP deserves it. Shevchenko deserves an immediate rematch. It's not something I normally like, but she deserves it.
I heard the broadcasting mention Aaron Blanchfield.
Mm-hmm.
And look, even if they start mixing in these other fighters, it makes the division a little more exciting. Didn't Valentina also say something like that too?
Yeah, well, she said like Blanchfield is like trash, basically. She was like, it was pretty gnarly what she said about it. But
what'd she say?
But I don't remember everything, but she was basically saying like she's nothing, like she's like not even on her radar. Just like, okay,
damn.
But all of a sudden we have Shevchenko, Grasso, Santos, Blanchfield. That's a nice little mix at the top of a division. It's not a bad top five.
For sure. And you definitely see some separation after those names. And we, with the pictures we share, a lot of times we'll see like swinging and closing their eyes or ducking. And that picture where Grasso's landing the shot on Shevchenko, look at where our eyes are.
On the target. Eyes on the
right
target.
on the target, man. And where they land, right on the chin, dude.
Yeah, it was a nice punch. And she clipped her a couple times after that too. Like right after that.
Yep.
Good fight, man. This was great.
That picture of Grasso on her coach's shoulders and, like in disbelief still of what had happened. Such an awesome shot, man.
Yeah.
And
dude, he was like sobbing too.
Yeah, it was such a cool moment. A third Mexican-born champion right now, if you count Yair Rodriguez. And in Grasso, first female Mexican-born champion in the UFC. So props to Grasso, man, in the record books.
Yeah, I wish Yair was here for this, because do you
remember
when Moreno got the belt back?
He might have knocked somebody out next to him.
Yeah, that dude that's next to him, like, chill out, man.
Yeah, he's like, hey, calm down.
Up and down. So funny. Yeah,
Moreno
he would have been
looked
going crazy.
Pumped, though.
Moreno, I think, looked pumped after the camera got on him, because he's trained a lot with Shevchenko. I think he was also like, just watch my homie lose her belt.
You think so?
I think so.
Oh, man.
Which is fine.
He's torn?
I think he's torn.
Do I back up a nation or my training partner?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. We can move on to the next one.
Fight of the night.
I was really excited for this one. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Geoff Hands of Steel Neal. Rakhmonov continues climbing, man. He was 16-0 going into this. I thought Geoff Neal is a very, very good test for Shavkat Rakhmonov. He's a very tough opponent in that division. I don't want to say Geoff Neal's a gatekeeper, but for me, I was thinking like, hey, you beat Geoff Neal.
You get past this gate.
Yes.
I don't want to say he's a gatekeeper, but if you get past this gate,
then it's off to the races with this guy.
Yeah.
It was such a good back and forth fight. I know that Geoff Neal missed weight right? I think he
5
weighed in at like
pounds.
175. Yeah, I don't know what the heck happened there. So I was a little concerned, that maybe he did that on purpose to come in a little more fresh, not so depleted.
Well, also Rakhmonov's grappling is insane, so he's like, I might need to be a little heavier for this one.
Dude, but Rakhmonov, man, the way that he mixes his strikes up, kicks to the body, the stepping elbows that were
Yeah.
Dude, look at that. It's almost like Rich's here,
Almost.
And then what I'm really impressed with Rakhmonov too is his chin, because he ate
look at that timing.
Oh my God, some massive shots, dude.
Dude, so that's the biggest takeaway from this fight for me, because I was like, look, I really like Geoff Neal, but style-wise, this was always going to be a tough matchup for him. I was super high on Rakhmonov. Everybody is, right? How could you not be? But the one thing we haven't seen is, how does he deal with adversity? How does he take a shot? Because he's ran through everybody. And if you could take these shots from Geoff Neal, of all people, like Geoff Neal cracked, and Rakhmonov was just taking him. And that's kind of scary because
okay, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, that's like not fair, because how can you have all those gifts and then also have like a granite chin? It's not fair.
I was going to say, I was a little worried because at a certain point in the fight, he looked like he got too comfortable, and he thought to himself, oh, I can eat these. And there, he came in a couple times a little aggressive with his hands down.
No head movement.
Yeah. And I was like, bro, you're still getting punched by Geoff. They call him Hands of Steel Neal for a reason.
Yeah.
This fool drops people left and right, man. He has so much power. And there was one time, I believe it was in the third round, where he hit him with a combo, and you could see Rakhmonov take a little step back, and he kind of like shook it off a little bit, like, oh, those hurt. And he just comes charging forward again.
Yeah, that's one thing. The head movement from Rakhmonov could be better. That's the first thing I've seen from him that it's like, ooh, might need to improve on that. Everything else is flawless. But when he got this choke in, he at first, when he set it up, he was just standing next to him, and then just got the choke, got the gable grip, and then you can't really see it in this picture, but this leg right here, he ended up stepping over and hooking Geoff Neal's leg, because I was like, I didn't see it live, and I looked at Kevin, I was like, dude, how? He must have done something with his legs, because you can't set up a choke like that without control over the rest of the body. You just can't do it. And then they show it, and he steps through with that leg, and I was like, dude, that is impressive. And then just drops him too. He wasn't out cold, but that tells you that he was like holding him up by his neck, Yeah,
the way he walked off.
He hangmaned him, and then he just dropped him. I was like, oh my God, this
guy
is
as bad as John Jones versus Machida, but still
not as bad.
It was pretty badass.
Still pretty badass. And then this was kind of like, I know a lot of people say Rakhmonov and Khamzat are very like similar in their like trajectories. They're like, they both just run through people. They have incredible like grappling, like offensive grappling that gets finishes, and then also knockout power. They both had like very impressive grappling wins. And then Khamzat knocks out Mearshart, and then Rakhmonov just beats the brakes off of was it Neal Magny? Was that his last fight?
I believe it was. Yeah, I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, just running through the Neals. But there's been a lot of comparisons between Rakhmonov and Khamzat, and everyone's saying Khamzat's getting all this hype, but Rakhmonov might deserve the hype more and they're in the same weight class, all this stuff, allegedly. But
it was Neal Magny.
It was okay, yeah.
Neal Magny was level 1 gatekeeper. Geoff Neal was
Neal.
like the second boss.
Yeah, first Neal, second Neal, first name Neal, last name Neal. But Rakhmonov, this is the guy that's truly terrifying in my opinion, more so than Khamzat. And it's kind of weird how their trajectories have been like this, where they have that crazy dominant grappling wins, and then the crazy striking wins, and then the barn burner test. Both of them went through the same exact thing,
For sure.
Khamzat had it. This fight was very similar to Khamzat versus Gilbert Burns.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Gilbert Burns. Yeah,
just back and forth banger, where it's like, oh, not only are they incredibly skilled, they got heart. They can go through the damage and keep going forward. And it sucks that Khamzat's kind of going up to middleweight, and it seems like that's where he might stay now, because Rakhmonov versus Khamzat that's what I want to see. That's the best fight you can make at welterweight.
All right, so listen to these names. You have Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Gilbert Burns, Bilal Muhammad. You said Hamza might stay at middleweight. So Colby, who do you put Rakhmonov up against the next?
Could you imagine Colby taking that fight? That'll never happen.
No, not gonna happen.
Whoopsies. We'll talk about that fight later. But I don't know. I think in my opinion, he should fight one more time, and if he wins that, he should get a title fight.
Oh, snap.
I think he should get one more fight.
Yeah, but who do you put him up against?
Oh man, it's tough. It's tough because I can't look at the names.
Put him up against Gilbert Burns, Bilal Muhammad.
Bilal just doing everything he can to get
Gatekeeper level 3.
Yeah, it's just Bilal probably deserves a title shot, but they're just never gonna give it to him.
Nah, dude, probably not gonna happen.
Could you imagine if they give him Shavkat? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's got to be someone at the top, though.
Look, if
Gilbert Burns is fighting
put him up
Masvidal,
against
right?
a name, I think so. Yeah. If you just want to put him up against a name and you just want to shoot him into the title fight, I say you give him Stephen Wonderboy Thompson next. He's more well known in the MMA community.
Rude.
Look, it's a fight that I think Rakhmonov can win fairly.
What's Wonderboy
easily.
at? What's his ranking?
6.
God damn, Wonderboy's still at number 6.
Yeah, dude, he's still doing the damn thing.
God damn, I love that guy. Which is why I don't want to see that fight.
He has a special place in your heart.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, this was
spent a lot of time on the first couple fights.
Yeah, this is the one that matchup wise, the one I was looking forward to the most.
Yeah, we had Mateusz Gamrot versus Jalin Turner.
Ooh, lightweight is crazy.
Dude, what is he? 6'4", right? 6'3",
something
6'4",
crazy,
something like that.
So big that
155.
So big that I don't know if you have any pictures of it. Nope. When Gamrot took him down and he's in his guard, he just crab walks all the way back to the fence.
Yep.
Did you ever see anybody do that? He's a tarantula. Cool. What a great nickname for him. What a great nickname.
Seriously.
It's perfect.
It was so hard for me, by the way, when I'm looking for pictures for the podcast to find any Gamrot hurting Turner pictures.
I mean, well, that's the thing. Coming out of this fight, coming out of this fight, it's Gamrot he's one of those guys where it's how good is he? Because he had that fringe guy who can't break into the top 10 because nobody's taking fights. He's one of those guys, right? For a while, it was him, Fiziev, Saryukian, Jalin Turner, Brad Riddell, all these guys that couldn't quite break in. It's how good are they? I want to know, but no one's taking the fights. They're not getting up there. So, of course, they have to fight each other. And that was the biggest takeaway, was that Gamrot's striking is pretty lacking. His grappling is insane.
Yeah.
But we know he's limited now and we kind of knew that from the Neal fight, the Dariush fight.
Yep.
But Dariush
win for Dariush. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be for him.
Yeah, and that this kind of confirms what my takeaway from that fight is that if you can defend against Gamrot's grappling, then it's going to be a tough night for him. Turner couldn't quite defend against the grappling. He almost could, but not quite. But on the feet, it was not even close.
Turner, I think of the skyscraper.
Yeah.
What's his name
Stefan
again?
Struve.
Stefan Struve, who was 7 feet tall, but fought like he was 5'10".
Yeah.
And then you have Jalin Turner, who's 6'3" and knows how to use this length very, very well, man. Mm-hmm. And even some these, like the step in knees that he had, the front kick to the body. And then when Gamrot would come in and he'd have a little bit of a sloppy shot where he would threaten with the level change. And even if he wasn't fully committed, he was so long, man, he was able to take a small step back and just hit a straight down straight with his right and crack Gamrot. So this fight, man, it was pretty telling for me. And not so much saying Gamrot had an opportunity with striking, but just how good Jalin Turner really is, man.
Yeah, he might have lost this fight, I think that was the right decision. It was a split decision. I thought that was kind of crazy, but I guess, I don't know. It's tough to score fights like this. But going out of this, even though Gamrot won the fight, I coming out of it, I'm thinking that Turner has more of a future getting to the top of this division, because
For sure.
if he just tightens up that defensive grappling, things like that. I mean, he did the right things most of the time. This read here, the step in knee, is a great read on somebody that you know is going to shoot on you, and he was landing it a lot throughout the fight. Yeah, I'm very impressed in this loss by Jalin Turner.
And we all know that the rankings from Story of the Fight matter a lot more than the UFC rankings. So Jalin Turner is still
let's be real.
solid.
Have you seen who actually does the rankings for the UFC?
No, who is it?
It's a bunch of journalists. It's like 16 journalists or something like that. But like over half of them don't even like their websites or like where they were like working as journalists aren't even putting out anything anymore. So they're like still sitting as like the rankings deciders, but they don't even like cover the sport professionally anymore. Yeah, it's bullshit.
Wow, that's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. All right.
It's like websites that are like long gone. Like I was going through the list like recently. I forgot which fight. Someone brought it up. Oh, it was because of the pound for pound drama between Islam and Volkanovski. People were like, who are the people who actually decide? And someone did like a whole deep dive and like explained it all. And I was going through it. I was like, man, I haven't heard of these websites in like a decade. It's crazy.
That's insane. But yeah, that's all I got on that fight.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll move on to your boy, Bo Nickal versus Jamie Pickett.
Yeah, man. I don't know what it is. I'm just not on the Bo Nickal hype train. I'm just not.
Is it because you feel like he's being like force fed to you?
They're pushing him really hard, which is annoying when they do that. But I'm all for it when it's like a fun fighter.
It's like the slap league, you know.
You know, like I was high on Sean O'Malley like at the beginning, and they were shoving him down everybody's throat, and I was all for it. You know, with Bo Nickal, I'm just not. I don't know. It's like I'm just not excited for it, and they keep confusing. I think like who's going to be like a dominant, like who's going to get a lot of wins versus who's actually a draw. There's nothing about him that is like a draw to me. Like he will have a lot of wins in MMA. He's very talented, but like I don't think he's going to be the superstar that the UFC is trying to create him to be. And already he's starting off. This is UFC debut, and he's already getting a lot of hate for this fight.
I think we have yet to see, man. I mean, they put him up against a Jamie Pickett, who's a decent opponent, right? They didn't just throw him some
very good jiu-jitsu. Jamie
Pickett.
Yes.
But they didn't just throw him some can out there for him to just start racking up those wins. So I was like, okay, you know, it's a decent test for Bo coming into the UFC.
Yeah.
He's coming in only 3-0, man. But granted, this guy's been wrestling since he was 4 years old. So it's not like he hasn't been martial arts his entire life, you know?
Yeah.
And outstanding wrestler in Penn State. Outstanding wrestler over here in Texas, by the way. He's a local guy over here. So you know what? I'm rooting him on. I'm rooting him on. Let's go, Bo Nickal, dude. Let's go, Bo Nickal. Dude, he knows, Jamie picking you, exactly what Bo Nickal is going to try to do.
Yeah.
And that's impressive to me, too. When your opponent knows exactly what you're going to do and you're still going to be able to impose your will on him, that's pretty impressive, man.
I think this is – so it is impressive. Here's the thing, though. It's not without controversy. And Jamie Pickett was doing a great job defending takedowns early in this fight. He hit him with the knee to the body. He was framing off him very well, had his hips low. He looked very good in the takedown defense until let's see if I could do this without Rich here. We got this.
Something?
I'm going to share something, and hopefully we don't get taken down from this, but it's only going to be a couple seconds. So, let's see.
We'll find out, I guess.
We'll find out. If we get taken down, we get taken down. Okay. So we'll full screen this. Here's the takedown. You ready? Let me know if you see anything here that leads to a takedown.
Oh, well.
Was that a nut shot that nobody said anything about?
It looked like he was trying to hook his leg, and then he removed the knee from, let me see, inside thigh.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think that was pretty. Yeah, I don't know. It's a
That was a
bummer.
little rough.
It's unfortunate. There's a caveat on the win, which sucks. It's a bummer.
Yeah. And then, when he was on top and gets him in the head and arm choke, and I thought to myself, like, dude, just slide over to your right. Because there was a point where Pickett kind of released there we go. Released his left leg. And instead of stepping over to kind of get better positioning, I was surprised because he kind of just put his knee down on the mat and then lifted it up again. And then Pickett just wrapped up his leg again. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? But,
yeah.
I mean, I guess his squeeze is strong enough.
You got the squeeze.
Because,
that's not where you want to finish that choke,
Yeah.
I'm bummed for Pickett, though. I'm not going to lie. I know his coach said he's going to dispute it with Nevada State Athletic Commission, which always goes well. They'll probably right the wrong here. But
not.
No, this will get forgotten. I am excited to see Bo Nickal's next fight. Because, he got the submission. Regardless of how he got the takedown, he got the submission on somebody who's very good on the ground. So that still means something.
Props to Bo Nickal. Dude, stop hating on Bo Nickal. All right. We can move on to the next one. We had Cody Garbrandt versus Trevin Jones. So Trevin was a replacement, right? Coming in. They were on the broadcast. They talked about how Cody Garbrandt was very specific. They gave him a list of fighters. He picked another southpaw to go up against. And he picked Trevin Jones. That being said, Cody Garbrandt did a good job of not
engaging,
not engaging wildly whenever he was hit with something, because he goes in full out bro mode, meathead mode, and he just starts trying to get one back.
Because he was getting hit with stuff.
Yes, but he was very light on his feet. He had the little ollie shuffle.
The ollie shuffle like 10 times without any.
Yes.
Normally you do that after you hit somebody.
Yeah, and did a very good job of using the entire octagon. But
he's not back.
No, and
he's not back.
He also went against Trevin Jones, who didn't cut off the octagon very much. He followed.
He did a decent job. I thought he did a decent job every once in a while.
Every once in a while, Cody didn't stop moving the entire fight, and every once in a while gave him a couple of chances to engage. He only had 4 significant strikes going into the third round, and that's because I feel like most of the time he was following Cody around the octagon versus cutting him off and giving him an opportunity to engage.
They kept saying that too, like the 4 significant strikes, things like that. But how many did Cody have? I feel like the whole broadcast team was really kind of shitting on Trevin Jones for not landing anything and talking about how Cody looked like a former champ out there and all this stuff. But Cody also wasn't, other than the 2 takedowns, Cody wasn't doing anything either. It's not that bothered me, the way that they were talking about Trevin, honestly. When Cody really wasn't doing much. Outside of those 2 takedowns, which I thought Trevin did a fantastic job getting back up.
Yes.
And I know I sound like a salty Cody hater. I wanted to see Cody have success. I loved watching Cody's rise, and his performance against Dominic Cruz was insane. The drama with TJ, he lost those fights, whatever. They were fun. He's an entertaining fighter. I want him to do well. I feel like Trevin was getting talked about pretty unfairly in this fight. I know he was hesitant.
When he started letting go in the third round,
and it's
difference.
And I feel for him, because I know he's probably shit. If I did that earlier, I probably would have got him, because Cody looked very tentative even after he was getting hit. It seems like Cody's confidence of being able to take a hit is not there. But Cody also said that in the training camp, he tweaked his neck and lost all feeling in his left arm, and that it flared up during the fight again. So he couldn't feel his left arm for most of the fight. So if that's the case, that explains why he was so inactive also. And it's man, just the guy has had so many injuries, so many just setbacks. It's I saw someone commenting about it where it's John Jones constantly talks about God testing him with all his own bad decisions, but then it's if God's testing anybody, it's Cody Garbrandt.
Man, didn't he have surgery
back
not that long
surgery,
ago on his
yeah.
neck too, on his back.
He's had all
And
kinds of issues. Sucks. I
man,
feel
it's
for him.
rough, dude. Yeah, for
It's rough.
sure.
When he's
But
on,
he's
Cody
still
Garbrandt is
lightning
on.
fast, dude. There's this one
Yeah.
where he did counter one of Trevin's. I think it was like a right that Trevin threw, and Cody slipped it and came back with his own right, and it was so fast. And I wonder if that's part of what caused Trevin to also be like, "Oh shit!" Like that was like as fast as I could go, and
Yeah.
he's a lot faster.
Yeah, and not only that, but he countered him with those takedowns a couple times, and that will make you second guess exchanging with somebody, 100%. I don't know. I feel like everyone's like Trevin Jones is going to get cut after that. I hope not, dude, because he's had some bad luck recently. But people forget that he knocked out Valiev. I believe he knocked out Bautista as well. Like he's very talented. His record might be was it 13-10 now or 13-9?
13-10 now.
But he is. It's like a mental thing with him. But he's very skilled. You know?
Let's see here. So he's on a 4-fight losing streak now.
It's tough.
After losing. But he did knock out Bautista. Rear naked choke against Otsuka.
What do you get Valiev with? He fought Valiev, right?
Choke.
So yeah, I mean, come on, Valiev is. I think they cut Valiev, which is crazy, but he's on the Ultimate Fighter season now. It's like, did they just cut him so that he could come back on that show? It's kind of weird. They cut him like 2 weeks before they announced that he was back.
Oh man, but hey, we'll see what comes next for Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's chomping at the bit to see him back in there anytime soon. It's sad.
Yeah.
All right. Cricus Plessis versus Derek Brunson.
Yeah, this fight pretty much went exactly the same way I thought it was going to be. Both of them fight exactly like this. This picture right here with their chins up. This is how they both fight. It was like, I mean, both of them are very good at getting wins, but man, their technique leaves a lot to be desired.
Man, and I'm telling the guys last night, I was like, look, I love watching Cricus Plessis because he's a wild man. He's got a lot of power. I can't think of a fight of his that I watched that wasn't entertaining. And I said, the only thing that would suck is Derek Brunson has the ability to, I don't want to say lay and pray, but he's very good at controlling his opponents when he's on top.
Yeah.
And
we saw that.
And I said, and we saw that. And I was like, shit, man, there goes the rest of the fight, because it's going to continue getting some more of this. And then,
and then that chin was straight up.
Yes.
But unfortunately for Brunson, they start the fight. They start each round on their feet.
Yes. And unfortunately for Brunson, it does take a lot of energy also to keep your opponent down, getting those takedowns. And you could see him coming out a little more labored in that round. Cricus Plessis took advantage, man, landed some massive shots.
Yeah.
And,
Brunson looks like he was having fun with it, though. Every time he got a crack,
for a while until he
dangerous.
ended up on his back. And then he ate a couple of shots while he was on his back. And you just kind of see him do like the arm stretch where his arms just go up. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's rough.
Corner throws in the towel. Love to see it. Love to see it. It's crazy. We've seen that twice now, back to back. With the Lineker fight in ONE FC, his corner stopped it in between rounds. And then this one, they throw the towel in. And I'm hoping that that's something that happens more frequently because yes, they called it at 4:59 of the second round, but the round ended. They didn't call the fight before the round ended. They called it because the towel was thrown in. They should have said that it was stopped in between the first two or the second and third rounds. But we don't need to see Brunson come back out in the next round.
No.
Need.
It was I think it was a really good call by the corner for throwing in the towel. Also, hey, ref, maybe stop it a little bit sooner, though, huh?
Yeah, I mean, those were a lot of unanswered shots.
Yeah,
him in his guard, arms up.
I think I have like 5 minutes left, so can we cover one more fight?
Through. Yeah. So we'll miss out.
Because I do want to talk about Ian Machado Garry.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about him.
Yeah.
This guy, we talked about it, and I've been waiting to mention this, but we talked about the John Jones IQ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really impressed with Ian Garry's fight IQ. His ability to recognize the mistakes, but also his ability to correct.
Dude, so going into this fight, I was like telling Kevin, I was like, man, people hate on him because of the whole Conor thing, but he is so impressive with his technique and his mechanics. But I was like, the only thing is that he just seems like he kind of lacks like the killer instinct. He's very content with just kind of just doing his thing for the whole fight and not getting that finish. And then this fight, once he smelled blood and was like, "Oh, I think he's fading," he just flipped the switch. And like you said, in the first round, he won the whole round up until he got clipped with a left hook off a counter that flatlined him, and then somehow he survived. Song maybe had some
Adversity.
questionable fight IQ.
Love to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Song, on the flip side, maybe had some questionable fight IQ. Once he didn't get the TKO, when he followed him to the ground, he probably should have disengaged because Ian Garry was still fucked up. But instead, he just kind of clinched him up against the fence and let him recover, basically. But after that shot, he goes back into the corner and he tells them exactly how he got countered.
Yes.
And I was like, how does he know? How does he even remember that? He was out. It looked like Rich Franklin versus Kung Lee, where you throw one punch and you get caught and you throw it way wide and you fall on your own knee.
His arm just continues going in motion. Yeah.
But then he comes back and then when he would open up, he would get Song Kenan up against the fence and he start landing his shots. And then he go pop, 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 out of the way of that left hook. And then I'm back with more shots because he knows that's what's coming. He did that like 3 or 4 times after he got caught with it the first time. And I was like, damn, he's looking good.
And that's
he's
what I'm
looking
saying.
real good.
Execute, man, because after that first round, there's a few times where he came in with the like really quick step and jab, and his right hand was tucked up right against his chin after that with his exchanges. So and I was like, man, that's awesome. That's good to see, especially from such a young fighter. You mentioned that combo. There's a couple combos that really stick in my head, right? Like the I believe it was Hernandez versus Cowboy. You have the Conor McGregor, right, versus Alvarez. Ian Garry.
Cerrone versus Rick Story.
Yes, but Ian Garry versus Song. When he knows he has him hurt, he goes up against the cage and he rips to the body, right, left to the body, moves back, while
dodges
comes through. He comes up left, right to the head, and then
dodges the next left
Song hurts. Yeah, and then he hits him with an uppercut. And I said, "What a beautiful sequence, man!"
Yeah, really was.
I'm so high on Ian Garry now after that performance.
Yeah, no, it was very good, very good. I'm excited.
Yeah,
let's get him on the prelims, huh?
Yeah, for real, dude, for real. All right, you want to?
Yeah, we're running out of time.
Ones real quick.
Yeah, I mean we'll go just really quick. Simon versus Martinez. I thought it was a fantastic fight. Got the point deduction in the first round for the low blows. I poked him later, but Simon he's someone to watch.
Simon's got very talented. T-Rex arms, huh? I thought I had T-Rex arms. Look at those.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, very good performance though. Manon Martinez is a game opponent, and Cameron just kind of picked him apart the whole fight. I was really impressed. That was one of the fights I was looking forward to the most. As I show that, the ground and pound from Simon was nasty.
Nasty, yeah.
Nasty. Then we had, in my opinion, could have won the fight of the night, but it's the prelims, so obviously we're not going to. Rajabov versus Ribovics. What a fantastic fight! This was incredible. Both these guys, I think they're former training partners. Just excellent scrambles. Esteban with the body shots that hurt him in the second round, and then he never went back to him. I wish he would have, but that combo, that body shots and then up top to really hurt him was fucking awesome.
First loss, right?
It, right? I think so, yeah. But
first loss for Ribovics.
It's a great fight. Let's see. We got the moment of silence. We got Garbrandt was originally supposed to fight Arce. Arce got injured. Nunes versus Aldana was supposed to be on this card. Yikes. What happened with that? Nunes is just like, no, there's nothing. Jalin Turner was originally supposed to fight Dan Hooker. Probably would have got the win.
Too. Yeah.
Probably would have got the win. Much different opponent he ended up with. That's the moment of silence. Performance of the night. John Jones gets the bonus for cementing himself as the GOAT. Grasso gets the bonus for ending the reign of Shevchenko. Jeff Neal versus we'll go Bo Nickal got a bonus for kneeing Jamie Pickett in the nuts. And then Rakhmonov fought Jeff Neal. They had fight of the night. They both get a bonus. Dana says, I don't give a fuck that Jeff Neal missed weight. He's still getting his money. And Dana also, I forgot to mention it when we talked about the fight, went into the cage after that fight. Started thanking everybody. When's the last time you saw Dana get into the cage for a non-title fight?
To thank Rakhmonov and Neal?
He went in there and started thanking all the coaches and stuff. He was in the cage for the whole post-fight of that one.
He must have really loved that fight.
I mean, it was fantastic.
It was such
Fight
a
of
good
the
fight. It definitely deserved fight of the night for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well,
next week we have Merab versus Piotr Jan, I
I
believe.
believe so. Man, I should probably look that up real quick.
I don't have to do the slideshow anymore, so I can exit out of that.
Oh, we have Bellator. Is that what you're looking for?
Not quite. I believe it is Piotr Jan versus Merab.
Piotr Jan versus Merab Valishvili.
What a fight that's a good fight.
That's a very
how's
good
the card?
fight.
Volkov versus Romanov. That's pretty good. Said Nurmagomedov versus Jonathan Martinez. Ooh,
That's a good one too.
Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann got rebooked for that one. That's not bad. Bautista versus Guido Canetti. Let's go. Victor Henry versus Gravely's not bad. Davey Grant's on the card against the Sunsao. That's a
Ariane
great
Lipsky,
fight,
bro.
Okay, yeah.
Versus don't hate, man. You're just being a big old hater right now. Bo Nickal, Ariane Lipsky. Come on, dude.
Yeah. Sunsao versus Davey Grant's
dude.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, though.
Did you already mention Tyson Nam, though? Tyson Nam's a fun fighter, man. Got a lot of power in those hands.
Yeah, Tyson Nam's not bad. Who's he fighting? I don't see it on here.
Bruno Silva.
Oh, Bruno Silva. That's not a bad fight.
No.
Carson Harris versus... Abu Bakar's back. When's the last time he fought?
I don't know. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun one.
Don't remember
How
that.
About Cedricus Dumbass versus Josh Fremd. There we go.
Yeah, I don't think that's his name.
That's Dumas then. Dumas.
Dumas was supposed to fight Abu Azatar, and then Azatar had to pull out.
Yeah.
Gotta love those Azatar brothers.
Well, we survived a week without Rich.
Still gotta nail this outro somehow, so
we miss you, Rich. Shout out Regen for joining us, always with the good insight as well from
John
Regen.
Jones the GOAT.
John Jones the GOAT, man. Yeah, but it was another fun week of fights. Very exciting. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're almost there. Almost there. We're close. And if you don't like watching, but you want to listen, Spotify, Breaker, Podcast Radio, Public, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found, and social media as well.
Yeah, it's at Story of the Fight on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, everywhere. Just go to storyofthefight.com.
100%. Storyofthefight.com. And everybody, thanks for listening to another week of Story of the Fight.
How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.